Coming up tonight, where the former Gamecock women's basketball stars land in the pros.
Later, a look into the upcoming NBA playoffs.
And finally, how women's golf is faring in the SEC Championship.
These stories and more on Palmetto State Sports.
From the Blue Ridge Mountains and through the Midlands down to the coast, there's plenty of sports highlights and moments here in South Carolina. There's only one place where you'll catch all the action. This is Palmetto State Sports.
Welcome to Palmetto State Sports. I'm Amanda Baranowski.
And I'm Colleen Sholtis. Thank you for joining us tonight. Gamecock women's basketball celebrates 5 of their former players as they were selected in the 2023 WNBA Draft on Monday. The first overall pick was Aaliyah Boston, selected by the Indiana Fever.
Additional dynamic players Letitia Amahir and Zaya Cook were also selected very early in the first round, getting picked 8th and 10th respectively. With 3 Gamecocks chosen in the first 10 picks of the draft, they now tie for the most in program history, with the same amount coming from the 2017 draft.
In the second and third rounds of the draft, Gamecocks Bree Beal and Victoria Saxon were picked 24th and 25th respectively. Now 18 former Gamecocks have been selected in the WNBA draft, with a staggering 14 of them coming under Coach Dawn Staley's time here in South Carolina.
These Gamecock alumni will look to find professional success as they transfer to a new era of their careers.
Gamecock softball fell to Clemson last night in a 4-3 loss. SGTV News 4 sports reporter Violet Raftery was there to cover the action.
I'm here at Carolina Softball Stadium, where we just saw the conclusion of this season's 2-game Palmetto series. 2 weeks ago, the Clemson Tigers shut out the Gamecocks 10-0. And tonight, South Carolina's powerful pitching kept the game a close contest, but a late rally from the Tigers left the Gamecocks with a 4-3 loss.
Starting pitcher Donnie Goborn delivered an electric performance for Carolina in the circle, tallying 8 strikeouts and recording her 3rd complete game of the season. The offense was there to back her when the Gamecocks put up 2 runs in the first inning, but scoring was silent for a while after that. The Tigers' 1 run in the top of the 3rd marked the only player to make it home until the 7th inning. In the top of the 7th, the Tigers rallied to stay alive in the game and took the lead off a 3-run homer. Despite a solo shot from sophomore Marissa Gonzalez that gave the Gamecock fans hope, Clemson closed out the game with a final score of 4-3 Tigers.
While the Clemson Tigers sweep the Palmetto series this season, the Gamecocks look to get back on track this Friday when they host the Texas A&M Aggies at 6 p.m. For SGTV News 4 Sports, I'm Violet Raftery.
And now from Beckham Field to Founders Park. Carolina baseball has had a thrilling season thus far. This continued yesterday afternoon after the Gamecocks picked up a midweek win against USC Upstate at home.
SEC Freshman of the Week Ethan Petrie recorded yet another home run after Dylan Brewer, resulting in back-to-back homers that gave the Gamecocks an early lead in the first inning. Ethan Petrie now has 52 RBIs and 16 home runs, making him one of the most outstanding rookies in Gamecock baseball history.
Carolina will head to Nashville this weekend to face the Vanderbilt Commodores in a 3-game series. Vanderbilt sits first in the SEC with a record of 11-1, and they are the only team that is ahead of the Gamecocks in the SEC.
Now with just 3 spring practices left, Gamecock football gears up for their upcoming spring game. This will be the first time the Gamecocks will be back in Williams-Brice Stadium after defeating Tennessee last November.
With new and returning players joining the team, questions still remain about the crucial starters that will lead the team in the fall. Here's what head coach Shane Beamer had to say about the future of the team with the possible changes that could be made.
As well, so you realize that things can change. We're always about competition and we're always competing, but certainly coming out of spring practice, it's critical to have an idea of where guys stand and what our offense, defense, and special teams is going to look like.
The Gamecocks will play each other on Saturday, April 15th at Williams-Brice Stadium starting at 7 p.m. The game will be open to the public and aired on the SEC Network and ESPN+. And I'm really excited to see After coming off that Tennessee win, everyone's going to be back in Williams-Brice. The energy is going to be up. It's going to be crazy. I'm really excited to see how the team does with each other.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see how this team plays and kind of what leaders come out and kind of what leaders are going to stay for the summer and then up when the season starts again.
I agree. Coming up, SGTV News 4 sports reporter Spencer Ball has the latest on the upcoming NBA playoffs. Stay tuned.
The NBA play-in tournament began last night to decide which teams would claim the 7th seed in the playoffs. The first game of the night saw the Miami Heat fall to the traveling Atlanta Hawks 116-105. The Hawks had a very balanced scoring approach but were led by star guard Trae Young, who put up 25 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists. It was their defensive effort that would make all the difference as they protected the paint well, forcing Heat stars Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo to struggle scoring near the rim. The Hawks claimed the 7th seed in the Eastern Conference and will face the 2nd seeded Boston Celtics in the first round. The second game of the night was between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves would get out to a hot start, pulling away to an 11-point lead at the half behind great three-point shooting from the whole squad. However, the Lakers would make a fourth-quarter comeback behind great performances from LeBron James and Anthony Davis. The game was tied at 95 with just a few seconds left when a driving James would kick it at Dennis Schroeder for what would seem to be a game-winning three. With 1.4 seconds left, the Timberwolves would find veteran guard Mike Conley in the corner, who was fouled on a three-point attempt, sending him to the free throw line. And with ice in his veins, Conley would sink all 3 free throws and send the game to OT. Overtime was a different story for the Lakers as they would lock down the Timberwolves on the defensive side and edge out the victory 108-102. They will take on the 2nd-seeded Memphis Grizzlies in a best-of-7 series in the Western Conference. 2 more play-in games will happen tonight, with the Raptors hosting the Bulls at 7 and the Pelicans hosting the Thunder at 9:30. Up next, SGTV News 4 sports reporter Dakota Morris has an update on Gamecock golf.
The Gamecocks women's golf team teed off this morning at the 2023 SEC Women's Golf Championship. The tournament is taking place in Birmingham, Alabama today through Friday. 54 holes of stroke will determine the individual champion, and a top 8 match play will crown the team champions. The Gamecocks are ranked 4th going into the tournament and are hoping to bring home their first championship win since 2002. The Gamecocks began the tournament this morning against number 3 LSU and number 5 Mississippi State. Hannah Darling will take the top spot on the lineup this week for the Gamecocks, followed by Matilde Class. The Gamecocks are in a really good position going into this championship. I think we have a really good run here.
I know, I'm excited to see how they do. I know they're tied for 5th, so it'll be interesting to see how they do going into this tournament.
Yep. Excited for Friday. The Gamecocks men's golf team had an extra competition day from a rainout that they used on Monday to host Gardner-Webb and Presbyterian at the Camden Country Golf Club. The 3 teams played 18 holes, with Carolina ultimately coming out on top at 10 under. The Gamecocks were led by junior Rafe Reynolds at 5 under and 5th-year senior Evans Lewis at 3 under. The match is the last for the Gamecocks before the 2023 SEC Men's Golf Championship. The championship will take place on April 19th through the 23rd at the Sea Island Golf Club in Georgia. Just like the women's tournament, a 54-hole stroke play will determine the individual champion, and the top 8 teams will compete in match play for the team championship. And coming up after the break, we have the Palmetto State calendar. Stay tuned.
Before we go, let's take a look at the Palmetto State calendar. Starting off with baseball, the Gamecocks head to Vanderbilt for a weekend series with games on Friday at 7 p.m., Saturday at 3 p.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. They'll be back home to host Charleston Southern on Tuesday at 7 p.m.
The Clemson Tigers host Notre Dame for their weekend series with games on Friday at 8 p.m., Saturday at 4 p.m., and Sunday at 1 p.m. After that, they host Georgia on Tuesday for a 6:30 p.m. first pitch.
And the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers travel to Old Dominion with games on Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 3 p.m., and Sunday at 1 p.m. After finishing that series, they'll return home to host College of Charleston on Tuesday at 6 p.m.
Over to softball, South Carolina hosts Texas A&M this weekend with games at Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday 2 p.m., and Sunday at 1 p.m.
The Tigers team travels to NC State with games on Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 4. They'll head back home to host Winthrop on Tuesday at 5:30 p.m.
And finally, the Chanticleers host Marshall for their weekend series with games on Friday at 6 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and Sunday at noon. That's all we have for this week on Palmetto State Sports.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at SGTV Sports, and to keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4 Sports, I'm Colleen Sholtis.
And I'm Amanda Baranowski. From all of us here at SGTV, have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.